Welcome back, everyone. Whether you identify as cisgender, transgender, non-binary, gender fluid, gender neutral, bigender, agender, gender queer, gender bender, and everything else. Anything goes. You are all accepted and seen. No judges. So welcome to all of you to another episode of Under the Microscope. This season, we are examining and analyzing issues related to men's health, to see if we can actually help and diagnose a more positive future for boys, which in turn means a more positive future for everyone. Today, we are looking at masculinity. Masculinity, yeah. And how gender stereotyping can negatively affect boys and men, not to be confused with boys to men, because those guys really knew how to express their feelings. And so we've come to the end of the road. They knew how to express their feelings. But firstly, what is the definition of masculinity? Wow, masculinity is defined as the male sex or gender. So it's a biological definition of males. However, the definition doesn't stop with biology. There's also a socially constructed definition of masculinity that includes a way of being. Qualities, behaviors, and traits most often associated with being male. Now, these traits and behaviors vary from culture to culture, but in many cultures, masculinity is defined as strength, assertiveness, competitiveness, dominance, even aggression. And boys are taught and conditioned to adopt these traits from a very young age. Okay, so not everyone sees gender in such black and white terms, or shall we say blue and pink terms. But many people unconsciously do, because gender stereotyping exists, and it has existed for centuries. So it's embedded in almost every part of our society. We have gender stereotyped sports, careers, cars, colors, hairstyles, clothing, and let's not forget gender stereotyped children's stories. I mean, even ChatGPT, the new AI system that is taking the world by storm. ChatGPT has shown in certain instances that it can be gender biased, using gender stereotyping in some of its texts, and favoring men to women in certain instances. But if ChatGPT is gender biased or sexist, it's only because it's learned from who? From us. ChatGPT says this.
As an AI language model, I do not have personal beliefs or biases. However, I may produce biased answers if my training data contains biases, or if the way a question is phrased, or the information provided in the question is biased. It's important to recognize that biases can be unintentional, and that it's crucial to address and correct biases in both data and language to prevent perpetuating them.
Now, ChatGPT isn't even human. It's artificial intelligence, and it's more woke than us people, bruh. This non-human entity recognizes that biases can be dangerous and that it's crucial to correct them and prevent perpetuating them. So why are we humans not able to do the same thing? Why? That's what I'm setting out to do, to address and challenge certain biases and gender stereotypes that are not working in our favor. I want to challenge certain masculine myths, made-up ideas that perpetuates gender inequality and prevents boys and men from truly expressing themselves and facing their feelings. It can also lead to boys and men actually feeling inadequate or other if they don't measure up to being masculine. Now, the first myth, boys don't wear pink. Let's bust this baby and look at the evidence. Exhibit A. Up until the 1920s, the color pink was associated with boys, and the color blue was for girls. You didn't know that. I didn't know that. I never read that in the Chappie's paper, right? It's difficult to get your head around it, but it's true. Pink was perceived as the stronger, manlier color, while blue was seen as the feminine and dainty color. It's hard to imagine, isn't it? But then gender stereotyping of color flipped. And by the 1950s, fashion marketers had entrenched the idea that pink was for girls and blue was for boys. And that's where we still are today. Let's move on, people. It's just a color. Wear pink, not because you're making any kind of statement, but because you just like the color. And you're totally secure with yourself. Moving on. The next myth of masculinity is that boys and men can't wear dresses or skirts. Recently, I don't know if anyone saw this, a parent tweeted that her son asked her to buy him a dress. So she did. And this got some in the Twitterverse frantically tweeting, bro. Right? Creating arthritis in their fingers, bro. Some saw this parent buying her son a dress as an attack on masculinity even. Yo, look, I don't know if I would buy my son a dress, but I don't know if this is an attack. Because, I mean, both of us, my son, when we go to mosque, we wear dress-like garments. And we think about it, for centuries, men wore dresses and skirts. Men started wearing pants around the same time horses became domesticated. And the only reason men switched to pants was because they were more practical for horse riding, not because they were more manly. Ew. Today, there are still men who wear skirts and dresses. Zulu men wear skirts in traditional ceremonies. Priests wear cassocks, type of dress. Middle Eastern men wear robes. Scottish men wear kilts, so their plums can get more freedom. Freedom. Right? We don't judge these men for not wearing pants. So why are we shaming little boys who want to wear dresses? You know? Maybe we should rethink this. Moving on to the final myth of masculinity, that you can't share your feelings, show emotions, or express yourself for fear of being seen as weak or girly. The boys don't cry trope. It's tripe. This harmful gender stereotype is creating emotionally dysfunctional boys and men. If a person cannot express their true feelings and bottles it all up, this can obviously lead to resentment, rage, feelings of rejection if they don't fit into the mold of masculinity, and ultimately even depression. No wonder boys in South Africa are more prone to bullying than girls. I mean, men in South Africa are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. And we have one of the highest rates of gender-based violence in the world. And this myth of masculinity filters into family life and fatherhood, which we chatted about in episode 1. Being masculine has taught men that they can't openly show affection to their kids. And when they do, like this dad, remember him. The community's backlash is illogical and doesn't prove that masculinity argument. In fact, it just makes masculinity seem insecure and out of touch and cold-hearted. So to crush the masculinity myth that a real man can't show his true feelings, I give you Exhibit C. A man who openly admitted he cries. Who's that? You know? Arnold, I'll be back. Arnold, I'll be back. Schwarzenegger. Yeah, that bruh. He recently revealed that he cried all night after an unexpected defeat against his competitor Frank Zane in 1968. I mean, Arnie admitting he cries. That's amazing, right? And he didn't just cry, he cried all night. Wonder how Arnie actually cries. And he's like, yeah. Yeah. I lost Maria. With the quivering lips and all of that. Right? I don't mean to make fun of Arnie, right? Arnie has actually said that after acknowledging his defeat and his feelings of worthlessness, he calmed down. His mind gained more clarity and he decided to train with Zayn. Arnie has said, and just like that, I went from misery into a mission. I could do it. Now, if Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't represent the dictionary definition of masculinity, then I don't know who does. And he realized that confronting his feelings was like tapping into a superpower. Masculinity isn't a bad thing, but it doesn't have to equal being a real man. I mean, Cassius Semenya has been called masculine. So if masculine means being an elite athlete who is a world champion, an Olympian, and a multiple gold medalist who achieved greatness in the face of cruel and unfair public scrutiny and horrific humiliation and handled it with courage, grace, class, and style, well, then I'd want to be that kind of masculine any day. We can teach our boys and young men that masculinity means having a good set of morals, right? Being kind, respectful, patient, calm, empathetic, and responsible. It also means you can be vulnerable and express yourself. You know, boys need to be seen, heard, and accepted. And if we do this, we'll have less bullying, less gender-based violence, and we'll have better fathers, better husbands, better boyfriends, and more thriving and healthy families and communities. If you or someone you know could do us some guidance or help related to these issues, then click on the link in the comment section. Help and support is available. Until next time, guys, peace out. This is Dr. Riyad Musa for Under the Microscope. If you like going under the microscope with me, Dr. Riyad Musa, then hit the subscribe button for more enlightening videos.